Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. Here on a little bit of an algol talisman update. What I made a Urano algol talisman. Yes, I did. I actually did that. Before it was perfecting, and I joined the fifth lunar mansion. So ever since then, I dedicated the talisman to kind of abolishing the practice of expandable children, and as well talisman, protective talisman, and so on. And I just recently received more and more information. Actually, if you go to the channel Galactic Astrology, okay, there's an astrologer who is a Dutch astrologer, and she made an episode about algol that really reminded me of something I suspected that algol is associated with goddesses like Chinamastra, or some people associated with Lilith. I think, yes, it's not Lilith, but I can understand why. And I want to talk about how that is being used for satanic ritual abuse, and how we can use algol to begin to combat, to begin to heal and shield and identify and dismantle satanic ritual abuse. So not only is Algol called the head of Satan, right? She's called the head of Satan, and um, for no particular reason. Okay, so she was a very beautiful woman, very sensual woman, and she attracted Poseidon, and he raped her. But she wasn't believed, and Pallas Athena said to give her hair of snakes. And then there's another story of Poseidon cut off her head, but with the talisman of her head saved Andromeda, and with the blood that came from the front of her throat, I guess, they made a potion that was healing potion, but with the blood that was from the back, poison. Okay, so the duality of the poison and the medicine. If you go to the myth of Chinamastra, this is exactly, this is so similar, okay? And so the hermetic medicine, okay, the medicine that is the poison, and the poison that is the medicine, the duality of healing. The decapitation is the sacrifice of the head of something for the better thing. And the first thing I got when I did this talisman, and I got the symbol of basically a reptilian, okay, but a lizard. But I looked at all the cultures, and the Malawi culture, they had a myth where they sent a lizard to say to humanity that humanity is saved, but the lizard was too slow, and another lizard came and said that humanity is doomed. Okay, so that was interesting, and the association of sacrificing kind of like the tail or the head, and so it regrows. So the rejuvenation power that is associated with also algol or chinamastra, and the the discussion about the sacrificing the head of something. It's talking about great desires as well. And so, and to begin with, I had an argument about like the desires. I said, well, she's not Indra. Well, apparently Chinamastra and Indra are both the gods of thunder and the gods of the storm and the lightning. And so, yes, there is association with sexual energy, and even very strong and very powerful sexual energy. Um, However, I want to talk about how that associated with satanic abuse, because the association of algol are also electrocution. Okay, so sexual energy electrocution, we know that the electric energy is basically kundalini energy. Okay, and so when we talk about satanic abuse, the use of electricity and unfortunately rape and torture and psychic attack are basically used to mess with the life energy. And when you offer life energy of infants, of babies, of children, supposedly to the gods, okay, to the diamonds, then that is considered a good offering. But this is very archaic view of spirituality, of how we work with algol, and essentially, okay, that the habit of sacrificing children for the fertility goddess, okay, is very archaic, because we understand that if we want to bring life, we need to promote life. And if we electrocute, if we cause trauma, cause disturbance, what comes out with these children is that they're cut off from the life source. And the notion of we sacrifice this for the sake of society, no, it just brings perpetual war, an entire economy that's running on sacrificed and tortured children. Now, funnily enough, you can use the same talisman magically to abolish the timeline of child sacrifice that governs our economy, our politics, our art, our wealth. Because all the wealth we do, all the wealth practices, okay, why do you have life insurance? Why do you have mortgage? Because you do it for the children, okay? For yourself, very likely what you would need is to know that you will not be, if you lose the ability to work, that you're still okay. Okay, so you don't need sometimes too much for that. But the most of what we think is we think about the next generations. Okay, and so this is also kind of how we get those significations showing up in satanic abuse. And if you want to catch satanic ritual abuse on camera or online, you can catch it when you take a look at political attempts of political assassinations, threats of political assassinations of leaders left and right. You would see that the threats are using literally what got me to think that, I'm sorry I'm putting that name on the spot so much, but it's just I can't stop thinking about this, where a Dutch politician was threatened, okay, his rulers was threatened that he will eat his own head. And immediately that reminded me of like something algol like. At first I thought Durga, but I was like, who is the goddess that ate her own, that cut off her head and ate her own blood? Oh, that was Chinamastra. And she's the goddess of thunder, so it call on the power of lightning and thunder to shield from that. And so this is how we can use upon, especially right now when Uranus is with Algol and Nadir, the sky, the sky god is blinking. Okay, so we get to both learn about the astrology of both planets, and the gods that are associated with the storm. It's Ushun. It is the goddess Loki. Okay, Nordic goddess Loki. Okay, and if you understand, you don't need to sacrifice life for that, but you can use them to shield from and abolish the practices of human sacrifice. Okay, that is, and they're great wealth talismans. For Chinamastra, I said, it is not a practice to do when you wish to have sex, because it's abstinence. Okay, it's a practice of abstinence. But for Algol or Loki or Rishun, actually she's the goddess of sweet waters. So what is the sweet waters? Well, if you know, it's the female orgasm. And that is for when the liquid is, sweet. But that is, yes, another practice. And so you can pay attention of when and why is electrocution used for satanic ritual abuse? Because it is to activate and to fumble with that Kundalini energy. Okay, this is archaic practice. It is not in any way like useful to society or to humanity. When it comes to blood sacrifice, I said hibiscus. When it comes to kundalini practice or stuff like that, and of course you don't do it with children. That should be like the obvious. And it all begins for archaic view of algol, that you view her as head of Satan rather than a goddess of wealth and abundance and protecting from um, kind of the decapitation or protecting from violence or the bodies upon bodies that this alcohol is associated with. Okay, why do we have bodies upon bodies usually? We're connected with sadness story because they have child weddings, they have child sacrifice, and they don't treat the people, the marginalized society, the women with respect, they don't practice willing consent. Then there is invasion, then there is disaster. Okay, it's the element of land and it's the element of water, and then what we'll have fires, or we would have earthquakes, which is unusual electricity. Okay, it's unusual electric currents in waves in the earth, and so on, or volcanic eruptions. And so for the people that work satanically, they view Algol as the head of Satan, they view her as bad, and so they try to appease her with sacrifice and blood sacrifice. But when we understand Algol is not bad, and she's basically here a powerful protector and shielder from all these horrific things. And for the way that we appease Algol is you can do a talisman, you can do an artwork. You want to do talisman when Algol is not minima, okay? But when Algol is not minima, you're pretty much safe. She minima every 3 days. You can check for your zone. You can look Algol minima, and if not, then you're pretty much safe. I know people tell like horror stories of this, of that. Again, if you're Luciferian and you work with Algol and it's your mind is kind of associated with sacrifice or something like this, then of course you will get different significations, okay? But if you're not particularly Luciferian, we got Christopher and Warnock, who made the modern practice of talismans viral. And he works with Algol on a daily ritual for his business and to ward off energies that he doesn't want, to set the boundaries that he wants, even around his, I don't know, a news list or something like that. And he's got the Algol is the best sold talisman. They have more like 150 types of talismans, very big business, Renaissance astrology, and Algol is the best seller because the way he works with the Algol is basically as a goddess that he doesn't view her as bad, okay, which is very, very important. She's not satanic and she's not, yes, vengeful. Of course, there are those feelings or there are those experiences of Algol. She is to shield, to protect, but she can also deflect and return to sender. Okay, where you have to state, okay, want not to involve children, not to have lineage courses, and so on and so forth. But you can use Algol to basically abolish the timeline of human sacrifice, which is excellent use of Algol. Okay, and the rejuvenation around this, and you can get to the core of the issue. And so she can be powerful shielder. If you are a survivor of SRA, if you are targeted individuals, if you're political activists, social activists of any sort, that can be or politician, okay, that can be very good, or even a singer, because the voice, okay, throat chakra expression, Algol can be great for you to begin to get to know, to get to work with. Again, pay attention to the days of Algol minima if you make a talisman of Algol. But other than that, actually connecting with Algol at this time and day and age, when Uranus is on Algol, is very, very benefic for the transformation of humanity, so that if we cut off what is needed to be cut off, not something else, and for to abolish the blood sacrifices, the children's sacrifices, okay, war crimes, rapes, electrocution of children, psychic attacks, satanic ritual abuse, okay, all the goals, all the abundance that we want to reach. If we work with algol magically, we could reach for this abundance. But when we do the archaic practices of human sacrifice, they are outdated for our spirituality, and they create perpetual war until we get it. Okay? Until we stop these practices, which is important. What happened after Second World War? Women got the right to vote. They got the ability to have a bank account of their own. Okay, and then we would have discussion over willing consent and rape within marriage. All these things. So yes, we need to remember that the horrors that happen in the world war, they happen all the time in the royal families. And yes, algol is very associated with royal families, and the bloodline, and choosing people and sacrifice and doing these rituals, because these families are so secluded, then their practices are so secluded, then there is no rejuvenation in the spirituality of the royal families and the wealth families and the hidden wealths. And this is why it's a point of misunderstanding. Yes, we need to rejuvenate our spirituality to fit for the times what we are heading. We're heading for Age of Aquarius. Okay? And the story of the lizard is very important, because some people say we're heading to golden ages, and some people say we're heading to Kali Yuga. Kali is also goddess of destruction, but what she destructs is what needs to be destructed for to go to the golden ages. And so again, remember the story with the two lizards. One lizard said humanity is going to be saved, but it was too slow, and another lizard came and said humanity is doomed. Because on the short run, when there's a crisis in our life, it looks like everything is falling apart. On the long run, we are shedding like a snake shedding its own skin. So Medusa's hair was of snakes, which is also Kundalini energy. That's the penis for you guys or girls. Okay? And so this is where the shedding of the skin and the rejuvenation is also about our roots. And the hair of snakes is basically hair connects to our roots and our lineage and our ancestry. So we need to shed ancestral lineages to do this archaic practice of child sacrifice in our own cultures, in our own bloodlines. Okay? And that is why learning about this archetype can be so important at this time. And those who tap into this archetype and rejuvenate their practices in whichever way it comes for you, are part of the world that is abolishing human sacrifice and child sacrifice, and then having the actual wealth. And sometimes the actual wealth is connection, or the actual wealth is, and I don't mean like networking. I mean a sense of connection, a presence in the body, ability to enjoy life, whether sensually, sexually, or not. The ability to have appreciation, to have peace of mind, to be surrounded, okay, with art, with beauty, within ourselves and around ourselves, basically to enjoy life, what we came here to do. And so remember, for the beauty of Medusa Gorgon, it irritated the demons in Poseidon, in even other women, where they had to be actually rejuvenated like Medusa. Medusa needed not to have her head cut off, but it's the eyes of the beholder that needed to shed their skin, shed their lineage, and it looks like everything is falling apart, because it's difficult when you shed certain type of, what people call darkness, but it's just certain type of archaic, something that was very advanced 500, 1000, 5000 years ago, but right now is archaic. It's a part of our growth. When you shed that, you are receiving a lot of joy of living, and even immortality and eternity within the finite existence of our soul and our bodies. So I hope that this is useful. Again, the way magic works is very it just, you have to practice it and see it for yourself. You don't necessarily need big ceremonies. You need to tend to things, and you'll see the magic. Okay, if you see the magic coming on and coming into your life, and again, we all have a life. We all have events in life, but there's also the beauty, and there is also um, the way that you can work magically. And so with the same things that they've worked for to abuse you, you can work magically to create abundance within you and to shield yourself from their abuse. So, and they can themselves transform if they so choose, because it is archaic to sacrifice children. So thank you for watching.